Hello, hello, friends. It's me, Cynthia,
Hello.
and my friend Jamie. Jamie, say hi.
Hi.
And Marty and Azalea
Hi.
behind the camera, keeping it together, keeping everything going. Oh, wait, I got this thing in the background. There we go. Hello, hello, my friends. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Morphing Designs. Today we have something special and fun. We have our friend Jamie. She's going to teach us how to do brick stitch. This is brick stitch. Jamie made these earrings. They're cute. Here, but what I'll do is I'll do this. We're kind of crowded in here, y'all. You see that? Like a little planter. Isn't that adorable?
Little hanging plant.
Little hanging plant with little golden seed beads. Oh, I see my friend. There's Connie. Connie is joining us. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, my friends. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a little designing. And you know what else we're going to do? We're going to talk about the color wheel because sometimes that's fun to do. So I brought out a bunch of color wheels. This is a little color computer that you can get at any craft store. Usually has them. And then this little fun set went in with a book. I don't know if you saw this book. It was called, I don't know what it was called. Colorways, something. Azalea knows what it was. It's one of my favorite. It's on peyote stitch, free-flowing peyote stitch. What was that book, Azalea? You know that this was
colorways.
beaded colorways.
Okay, perfect.
Get a lot of use out of that. So anyway, that's kind of fun to work with it. And so Jamie, we met during your years at Chevron.
Yes.
Way back in, well, like 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, just 5 years ago.
Just 5 years. I don't feel like that long, but it's probably been like over 20 years.
Back in like 2005?
Yeah.
2004, 2005.
Oh, hello, Pamela. Hello, Karen. They snuck up on me. I didn't see all these guys come in. Our friend Ann Gardan. Hello, Ann. Nancy. Nancy says very pretty earrings. Ann says, hey, everyone creating and watching. Our friend Ann makes caps and jewelry and all manner of stuff. Oh, and there's Bonnie Francis. Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Karen. Karen says lovely earrings. Did I say that? Nilda. Yeah, a lot of folks joining in early today. Hello, Terry. Hello, my friends. All right. So I know Jamie through the bead world. We met at, where did we meet? I have a feeling it was at one of those.
It was at a party, actually.
Was it a party?
Yes.
What was it? Whose party was it?
It was Deb's birthday party.
Is that the one where Brandon kept getting kicked under the table because Eva was like, our friend Eva was always trying to control our friend Brandon because you never knew what that guy was going to say.
This is true.
It was funny because he's like, why do you keep kicking me? And it was always something really off color. And we were just like, oh, please. Not today. Like he could not be on this because he would get this banned within like 5 minutes.
No, I met Cynthia and Azalea was in a little baby stroller. She was a teeny baby. So yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
But I feel like we were next door to each other for something. She used to do shows too.
Yeah, I went to some shows, worked some shows.
Hello, Wendy. And I see Cecilia. Hello, my friends. Yes, exciting, a guest.
Yay!
So anyway, she has these are from her time at Chevron. So they're all different colors. I was like, so organized. So these are samples of her colors that she has that are not in the tubes. So the tubes, this is so she could take it with her.
Yes.
And do like on the
go. Portable. Yeah. When I used to go to Mexico every year, and I would just take a little bag with that and needles and some thread.
So smart.
And get to build whatever. So, as long as it wasn't too big of a project, since I don't have so many beads.
Yeah, for little earrings and small projects.
Yeah. Or if you want to use multiple colors and like bracelets or things like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Pieces. I love it. So then you don't have to take, you know what I was taking for a long time was that foldable, that tri-fold thing, and it would fit a bunch of tubes. You'd get like 20 tubes maybe even more. but it was kind of heavy. This
Yeah,
is not that
because-
heavy,
Yeah, because
and
the
it
beads,
doesn't take up as much space either. Look at
yeah,
that.
and the beads are
That's probably
glass,
light.
so they do weigh,
Yeah,
even
that's
as
probably
tiny as
like-
they are.
Yeah, you get so many more colors because there's probably like,
Oh, I probably got 100 colors there.
yeah, that's a
Close to
lot. Look at all
100.
that. Look at all that cheddar. And then it's only on. It only weighs like not even half a pound. I wouldn't say.
You put it in a makeup bag. That's
Yeah.
what I do.
Oh, a makeup bag.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
what that bag is.
Oh, that's smart.
Makeup bag.
Yeah. Bonnie says I have been wire wrapping all day. Yikes! I feel that. I feel it.
Tender
I feel my-
fingers.
Yeah, your fingers. We all were like, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
That gentle ache. So before we started, she was like, okay, you're gonna need to pick 3 colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just make
And
it easier that way. Have some contrast and have a little bit of variation.
oh, Wendy says I adore your shirt, Jamie.
Oh, thank you. My friend actually made it. She actually carved linoleum and printed these. So
Yeah, that's cool. It looks like it. Well, it looks like it's one of those. The texture looks like a flour sack from
yeah,
like
it
a
is
long
a
time
weird.
ago.
it
Like
is
kind of
weird-
a cotton.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Makes a
exactly what
good-
it is, but
It's a good background for that.
mhm.
I did some where I stamped it, and the stamping looked pale. It
Oh.
washed out fast. It was not good. It was not good.
This
You
is
could
pretty
practice
old. I've had this for a
Well,
while, so
It works. So
Yeah,
nice.
I
It's
like
nice.
it. I like to rep my friends' art.
It's good. So I was debilitated by choice. That's what happened.
Yes, I overwhelmed Cynthia with too many colors.
So
I
many
said,
choices.
"Here, look."
And I was like, okay,
You got
so-
so many options.
One of the things that we can do. Look, Marty's like,
He's like, I'm done.
Look at these ladies here.
Yeah, he's like, I thought he was the guest. Yeah,
He's
he's like, I'm not the
I'm-
guest.
He's like, I'm the main host of this endeavor here. All right, so what we're gonna look at, I'm gonna flip this camera around, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about color. Wendy wants to know if you sell them. Oh, and here's our friend Clem. Hello, Clem.
Oh, she used to sell stuff. I'm trying to get her back into everything, but yeah, she does a lot of sewing and a lot of printing and stuff with her carvings and stuff like that. And I've got several of her pieces that I've had for the last over 20 years. But yeah.
We'll give Marty a little something so he can forgive all
Oh
of
yes,
this
please forgive us, Morty, Mr. Morty. Brown.
He didn't like it. He's like, "Where's my gift?" He's like, "Okay, fine, I'll enjoy this while we get ready to turn the camera around." One of the fun things about looking at these beads is figuring out color theory, because that's one of the, it's not an easy or intuitive thing. I almost did not pass color theory when I was in art school because I didn't really understand some of this. I was looking at a Munsell color chart, and some of the names of these they get, like, it does not work well in my brain. Like, do we have that thing closed?
Yeah, it's closed.
Sometimes people hot rod up and down 74. All right, here we go. Let's bring it down a little bit. Yes, we can look at some of these colors. Let's get them here. All right. Yeah, Marty has for sure turned his back. My dog. He was he's like, "Where is that it? Is that it?" So let's look at, before we start doing this, let's look at what Jamie did over here. Let's look at this. So before we do this, let's take a peek at what was happening. Look at all this good times, y'all. So I said, "Hey Jamie, how do you do brick stitch?" It's been like 10 years since I even looked at it. And when I did do it, I was not good at it. So she made these guys. Hey, listen, if you guys hear this gagging, coughing sound, that's just Peanut. Peanut sometimes,
She times it.
she times it so that whenever there's a hairball, it will be gagged up on when we're doing a live.
Exactly. She doesn't do that anytime.
Yeah,
except
the
on
only
live stream.
time that happens is during a live.
Thank you.
Here, maybe go wipe her face. She's as I get in there with that cat.
I'm busy right now.
All right, you guys, listen. We're gonna get ready to talk about this beautiful component that Jamie made.
Thank you.
It's like it looks like a little eye, but it could be, if it were in a color shift, you could do something that looked like a leaf. I told her, I said it could be a leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And so she used some of these silver. Look at this silver, how that looks. Nowadays, that'd be expensive. Yes, because that's how it goes. But we're going to look at how to make these. She's going to show us how to make it. And look, this is a variation. And you could do, I don't think you can do diagonal lines, right? You could just do like up and down.
Well, no, I mean, you could do all sorts of lines. But you might need some type of, like a beadwork template. It's the offset kind of, because it is not like it is like brick offset. It's not just lined uniform column rows.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Azalea has that nice app.
Lumely.
Okay, so there's
Loomerly.
Yeah.
So Loomerly is an app that you can plug in colors and it'll give you a chart. And, you can even put in seed bead. Isn't it you can get the colors in there too? If you type in your colors, it tell you how many you need.
It's pretty much, it accounts for everything. Yeah. The amount of beads. Yeah.
Yeah, you can draw your entire pattern on there, everything. I just kind of freehanded this stuff. Just
that's
just
that's
to
good.
kind of make some stuff for y'all. But I did a few variations so you can see kind of some things that you can do with it. But really, it's kind of limitless to how you want to create. You can make them even bigger. You could make them smaller.
And I like how you chose something on this that has, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it has a iridescence on that border. Isn't that pretty? Can you see that? It's a good contrast. And so one of the things we were talking about, that when you're choosing a color, it's nice to be able to see what you're doing. If you put them too close together when you're starting out, like say, for example, me, I don't know how to make this. I mean, I know in theory, and I've made stuff in the past, but I didn't make something so precise. So for the rows, you want to have something where you can see your color changes and where to put your needle.
It's good. I think it's good to have some pretty good contrasting colors when you're first learning, so you can see better what you're doing. Then once you get more comfortable, then you can get a bit more creative, and if you want to have colors that are more muted together or blend well together, something that shifts in a more subtle way, then you can do that, and then you won't have to worry about trying to figure it out at the same time.
That's pretty smart. All right, well, I'm making some space here. So we were just playing with these components earlier, and we can choose some colors. So earlier, I was like, what kind of seed beads? I think I have delicas. I think I have check glass. I couldn't remember what I had because it's been a minute since I've done. Like last week, we did the crochet, and that was used all antique beads that I used on the necklace, but the snake that I was making had like rounded off beads, and it had a nice texture. So Jamie knows about, from your years at working at Chevron in the bead department, in the seed bead department, you know how to identify and know what beads are going to work the best. So these are delicas, and they are like little tiny tiles. So let me see.
Yeah,
delicas. Get in there pretty tight.
Delicas are they're made into tubes and they're cut by lasers, so they're very uniform. They also have very thin walls and large holes, so they're great for bead weaving. You can pass multiple threads back through them without getting bogged down like with other normal seed beads. For things like brick stitch, peyote stitch, and stuff, delicas are awesome because they lock so well together. However, you can use other Japanese seed beads, I find, if you are careful with the color choices, because sometimes the different different coatings, or say if they're silver lined, or they will vary more in size. They won't all be uniform. But if you want to have uniform work, I would definitely stay away from check glass because they seem to be extremely ununiform. But I just wanted to use the Delicas today for this because it's going to show how well everything walks together. It'll just make more sense. You could always, use the check glass if you don't mind something a little bit more warbly, if you will. Something that's not so tight and, interlocking. But, it just depends on what you're making,
I'm going to do a Kate palette, and that's like, my friend Kate likes to use like this kind of color right there. Don't you think? Now I need a mustard. I'm channeling my friend Kate. She would approve of that talk. So I don't know if that's a split complementary. Let's talk about it. I can never remember the names of anything.
That's what you got there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I got that out for. So let's look at it. All right, so this is the saturated side. This is the pastel side. We're not really going to do that. That's not pastel, so we're not going to use that. So let's see. That's basically it right there, wouldn't you say? Yeah. There's your red. Where's that mustard? I need a mustardy. That's probably a mustardy. Let's see. So they're calling this an expanded split complementary because these two, red and green, would be complementary, but since you're bringing in an orangey gold, it's just a split. So they sit close together on the color wheel. These guys are like, they're sitting together, they're good friends, and then their opposite punk friend is on the other side of the table. So,
that's odd man out. And I think also it can be really nice to have,
let's see,
different, say like the ones I did with these, the cream color is a matte color, and then the orangey gold is a silver line.
Oh, that's smart. Mm-hmm. So you're getting a little bit of you're getting a contrast of texture as long as
as the finish, yeah. And then also the green is almost like it's like a rainbow finish, so it has multiple colors within it.
I'm looking for. I know I saw earlier. She has one that's a kind of a yellow green gold, maybe. Did I imagine it?
No, that's the yellow.
Pull it out? No, I didn't. It's probably one of these. Oh, here we go. That's it. And it's sparkly.
So yes, so that would be nice.
This one or this one? What do you think? Probably this one.
Yeah, that one's nice. And that gives just having a different style of bead. That's a color lined.
Oh, I see. So that's that palette. I think that looks pretty. Okay. Delightful. Delightful. I was going to go with this right here. But, you know what gives it a little bit more life? Yeah. Yeah. You see what I mean? Sometimes that's when color theory, you can see how that without it, my initial design was this. And it's kind of...
It's still nice.
It's still nice, but it doesn't have a good...
It's more muted.
It doesn't sing. Putting this in there...
pops.
It does pop. So that's what I go with. All right. Let's see if there are any other comments I'd like to keep up. All right. So what's the first step?
Okay. So we've chosen our beads, right? So after you choose your beads, then you want to get your thread and needle ready. So I use Fireline, but any beading thread can work as long as it's not too thick. This is the 6-pound size D. So I usually do about an arm's length for the bigger size. So if you're doing a smaller size, you could go smaller. If you're doing a larger one, then you'd want to make it longer. And obviously you want to have extra. So more is always better than not enough.
Mhm. So you did like one wingspan of your arm.
Yeah. So about probably, it's probably not even a yard, but a little less than a yard. And then we just need to thread the needle.
Get in there. Move in there a little closer.
I
So
don't know if anybody knows the trick to beading. If you take your thread, this is a trick. I don't know if you all know this or not, but
you tell it because I don't know all the tricks.
okay.
of this.
So you want to take your thread and you're gonna pull it all the way down between your fingers there, where you can just barely see it.
I can barely see it.
Yeah. And so instead of trying to push the thread through the needle, you're going to place the needle onto that little point, and you're going to push the needle onto the thread.
Oh, that was
So
fast.
that is much easier than
From
trying
that
to
small little.
than trying to line it up into that tiny hole. Now, if you have a threader, then that's different. So I usually give myself about 2 inches or so of the tail there, just so that it doesn't slip off the needle. All
Do we
right.
need little dishes for the beads?
I have triangles over here.
Oh,
we
pass
could
some
do
over.
that. Yeah. And so then I use closed jump rings. And of
Everything's
course,
going on.
you can use whatever size works best for your projects.
Right here's
These are
some
probably
triangles.
about a 5 or 6 millimeter.
I don't know. I don't
jump
think there's
ring.
any beads in there, but there might be beads tucked in.
Yeah, here we go.
Mystery beads.
That was just the Instant Pot.
Dinner's cooking, guys. Dinner's cooking. All right, so we'll get our beads set up here. Oop. Hope everybody's hanging in out there watching us.
They're probably crafting with us. It's
Nice.
usually what people do. Is they like to
that's-
get their
that's the
stuff
thing.
out.
We craft together.
Yeah.
We'll put that right there.
All
you can
right,
see.
so Cynthia, you need to decide how.
Oh, I'm going to do it.
How your colorway,
Oh, my.
like how are you going to set like which one where?
How about a red border and yellow and then blue in the middle?
So the blue where the cream is.
Which way am I starting from the outside?
We're gonna start at the end with the jump ring. So we're
Okay.
gonna start making. We're gonna do basically a little ladder stitch with a couple beads and then a jump ring.
Okay.
Do you have needle and thread? Do you want to?
No, you do it.
Okay. So
no
you
one
want to start with
see
the
me
red.
struggle with
Okay.
it.
So we're going to pick up 2 of our outside color, whatever border color you're going to use. Okay, and then we're going to we're going to bring them down towards the other end. So going to leave maybe about 2 inches of a tail there. Okay, so we're going to do ladder stitch. So that is skipping that bead, going back through the first bead.
Did you? Oh, that's so you have a tail. I see the tail.
Yeah, just so that your beads won't fall off. And then, we're going to line up our beads together there. And then go back through. The second bead. It starts to lock them in place. And then we're going to go right back through that first bead again so that we have our working thread is coming out one side of that bead and our tail is coming out the other side of the bead. So now that is our starting point. So now we can add our jump ring. So then we're going to pick up another of the border color. And we can bring that bead all the way down. And pick up our jump ring on the needle. I'm going to bring it down not all the way. Just get it down a little bit. Then we're going to go back through that bead we just strung on. And we can pull it tight. Then we have a little bit of a triangle there, and the bead that we came out of with our working thread into that last bead into the jump ring, we're going to go back into the other bead next to it. So that's going to form a nice little triangle there.
Perfect.
And I like to go back through one more time just for strength purposes. So I'm going to go back through the 2 beads there on the side, the first 2 I went through. Thread through the jump ring. And then work onto the back side. And go back through.
So how many passes is that?
It's just 2. I just like to double the thread through the jump ring.
I see. So it makes it nice and sturdy.
Yeah, because, you know, depending on your thread, the thread I'm using Fireline is pretty strong. But some, you know, if you use nylon or something like that, or depending on your metal, if your link is moving a lot, if the jump ring is moving a lot, it can always kind of, you know,
work loose.
Well, it could, you know, compromise the integrity of your thread possibly over time. So it's just better, you know, I feel like better to reinforce it now than to have to repair it later if we can.
Oh, yeah, that's smart. Good thinking.
All right. So then this is where we're going to start our brick stitch. So we've got this part here, and that's just, you know, if you want to put a ring there, you could also, if you don't want to do a ring, or say you don't have a jump ring, you could put another bead there. It's just going to sit sideways, and then you could string through it and you link your links together in other ways or attach other things. So that's just kind of a personal preference there, but.
Looks good. Allie Jen says, late to the party, but hi. Hello, Allie Jen. And Wendy says, oh, green and gold, love it. And ooh, blue. That's probably referring to these guys. I love that too. And then Wendy, I think says, ooh, trust me, and 2 and tail would not keep my beads from falling off. Yeah, I probably need like a little clamper. And Bonnie says, cool, not too difficult. I don't know. It's not as difficult as...
No.
No.
So, okay. So the next thing is now we're going to start building that pattern. And again, if you have a pattern creator, you know, you would follow the pattern that you're going to create. But for this purpose, so we're going to do we're going to increase, and to increase, you're going to string 2 beads. So you're going to do your border color and then your next color there, which you wanted the mustard, Cynthia, is that correct?
I think that would be pretty.
All right, so we're going to pull our beads all the way down.
Oh, hello, Melanie. Hello.
Okay, and so with the brick stitch, we refer to this little thread between the beads as a bridge. So you're going to take your needle and you're going to go under that little bridge of thread. And you've got your 2 new beads you've just strung on there. And you're going to string back up through the second bead you put on. And if you pull it tight, it should lock together.
Oh, I see. It's like a little mosaic.
You guys can see that. All right, so, and then we just string on one more of the outside color. And at this point here, because we have such, you know, so few beads, we're going to string back through that same bridge.
It reminds me of hand sewing.
And you might have to turn your bead around. It might go to the back there. But then you're going to string up. If I can get it. String up through the bead you just put on. And again, pull it tight. And then you should have another little triangle. So you've got like a 3-level triangle now. 3 beaded triangle. And I find every time I string my beads on, I always kind of pull and make it tight, but don't just pull it tight. Always, I recommend kind of shifting things around, move your beads around, because if you continue to just pull it taut all the time, you're going to end up with something really tight. And if you are using nylon thread, especially, or something that's not like a carbon-based thread, it will pop the thread, and then you'll end up having to redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
what is that made of? That fire line?
it is a carbon-based thread. Yeah, it was originally fishing line. They use it for fishing line, but then the beaters caught wind of it. It's probably been 20 some years ago at this point. But yeah, I love fire line. I use it for pretty much all my bead weaving, unless I'm doing something that's more delicate that doesn't need to be too strong, and then I'll use like nylon or something like that. But then when you use the nylon or Nymo, you have to wax it. You need to condition your thread. That will always protect it from the oils of your skin, perfumes you wear, things like that, because those things will always break down those threads. So, but something like Fireline, though, it does not tangle very easily. It stays nice and slick as you're using it, working with your beads, and it's so strong. You have to use scissors don't even usually cut it very well unless you've got some really sharp scissors.
So it's kind of like that Kevlar, that Kevlar thread.
All right, so now we're going to pick up 2 more beads. Again, we're going to do one of our outside color and then that border color.
It's pretty smart.
And then go through the first bridge. So you've got your bead you just came out of, and then there's the bridge right next to it. You might have to shift your beads a little bit. And you go through your second bead, string back up. Sometimes you need to put your needle down and tighten everything up.
Bonnie says, now a bit more challenging.
All right, then we're going to string on one more of our inside color. There. So then we're going to go again, next bridge over.
Like the mortar.
To
the
bridge. So then we're going to string back up through that same bead. Again, just making sure everything's lining up, locking in. All right, then border color. And then, so when you get to this point again, you're going to have to go through the bridge that you just strung through. So, and your bead might sit funny again, so you just kind of have to straighten him up. And once you string back through him and pull it tight, he should line up like so.
Good. Looks good.
Okay.
Wendy says, reminds me of bead embroidery, similar to Azalea's work around that cabochon.
Oh, yeah. It's very similar. Yeah, like peyote stitch, brick stitch. It's very similar. It's a little bit different in the execution of it, but the look is pretty much identical. And again, you are using one bead at a time, picking up or occasionally 2 with this when you're increasing or decreasing. All right, so again, we're going to increase again. So we're going to pick up 2 beads, outside color, and that inner color. If I can get it. Move your beads down. We're going to go through that first bridge and back up through our second bead. And pull it tight. All right, now here's where we're going to start adding that third color. So we'll pick up our third color here and go under the next bridge. No trolls allowed. Oh wait, I meant to do blue. Sorry.
Don't feel nervous because the last demo I did,
Uh-oh.
devastating with how many mistakes and
Oh, no.
frustrations. Just had to accept it and lean into it.
Well, sometimes that's how you learn is through your mistakes and through, trial and error.
Well, hey, and we're all just figuring all this out too,
Mhm.
We're all doing stuff, so
We're all just
none of us are perfect at any of it.
Nope. Yeah, perfection, trying to get things to be super perfect is kind of like the joy of killing creativity right there.
Yeah, that's why, like in Native American beadwork, they always put one bead that's wrong. They call it the spirit bead. And
Get in the
so-
middle here.
Oh, sorry. I was having to re-thread my needle, guys, because I had to take that bead off and it was not cooperating. All right. So, accent color. Call that one. All right, under the bridge. Back up through that same bead. Pull it taut. And we're going to go to that edge color, not the border color, but the.
Oh, I see. Morphing Design says, I just saw this comment pop up. Marty might be perfect. Yes, that's true. And I see another comment. She says, now I can watch video as well as read comments. That's good. See, sometimes you can't do that when you're driving. Wendy says, my tongue would be so sticking out if I was doing this. Azalea, you did way better than most of us trying to work, talk, etc. It's true.
Thank you.
Yeah, with tight work, I find it hard to
You're
chat.
super duper
because
tight bead crochet. I was
Yes.
fighting back tears. But I did
Oh, my
post it.
I did not actually go back into it, but I will go when when I'm quiet and there's no distractions because it's too hard to,
All right, and so I've got the border color again. We're at the edge, so just remember when you get to that end there, you don't have a bridge that you can see, but you're just going to go under that bridge that you just went under again. And then pass back through. All right, and that's what we have so far.
Do you want me to leave it to you? Just leave it?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, so we're going to keep increasing. I guess, should we make the bigger one, Cynthia, or should we just make the smaller one?
I don't know. We're at 40 minutes, or almost at 40 minutes.
Okay,
so
I'm going to just
happened
make
fast.
this.
that did happen fast.
I'm going to make
blinked.
this smaller version, guys. And the way to do the bigger one is just to keep going and just keep increasing. Again, you just add the 2 beads at the edge and then go under your first bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got one more row we're going to increase here. So you pick up your edge color. I'm going to call this edge and border color. And go under that first bridge. And back up through the second bead you put on. Line it up, lock it in. Okay, then we're going to do the blue.
Move up a little bit. Just here. There you go.
I need to put this up here. Get
Oh, hello, Kaylee. Kaylee says, good evening, everyone.
All right, then
Good
we're going
evening.
to go under the next bridge and back up through. Same bead. Pulling it tight. Again, blue again for your accent color. So I'm calling it. Under the next bridge, back up through that bead.
Oh, you have 3 sizes. Is that 3
Nope.
sizes?
I do have 3 sizes. I didn't realize that, guys. So. All right, then we're gonna go to the border color here.
It's like a banner. You know what I mean? Like he's flying. And then
Oh yeah.
it's like a.
Well, I was kind of thinking that as I made the little one. I was
Like
like,
a
I'll make it a little
kite
bit
way.
bigger. Maybe I'll make another bigger one. And then
I like it. I didn't notice it at first.
And then back up through. All right, and here we are at the edge. So again, we don't have a visible bridge, but we go through the bridge or under the bridge we just went through. And back up through that last bead. So that's what we have now.
A perfect little triangle.
Hopefully everyone is following along okay. Hopefully I'm explaining it well and showing it.
Looks perfect.
Oh, and not knocking the beads off.
Hmm.
So again.
Bonnie says they remind me of little kites with no tails.
Yeah.
That is true. That would be cute with a tail.
Yeah.
That actually would be pretty charming. As an earring, wouldn't that be cute?
Well,
But this one kind of reminds me of it.
You
right
could
here.
add some fringe or something, and make it look like it's got like some little tails or something. You
Mhm.
could even, like, if you had a little fella, you could hang at the bottom like he was flying the kite. All right, so this is where we're going to start decreasing. And to decrease, we're still going to pick up 2 beads. So we'll do the edge color and the border color. And this time, instead of like we did with increasing where we go under the first bridge, we're going to skip the first bridge and we're going to go under the second bridge. And then you're going to come back up through the second bead you strung, which is your border color. Now it's going to be a little bit wonky like that. But what you're going to do now is you're going to go down through your first bead you strung, under the first bridge, not the second one that we first strung through, but actually the first bridge, and then string back up through the second bead. And then if you pull that tight, that should lock
Looks
it
cute.
in, and you'll see how it's starting to bring it back in.
I like how the blue has a kind of a turquoise green. More green.
Yeah, it is.
It's more green next to the red, I think.
And so then we're going to pick up that accent color and then just do like we did before. So the next little bridge there, we're going to go under and then string back up through the bead. Pull it tight. And again, you can always go back and kind of shift your beads if you need to. And like I said before, pull them tight is great. Just always don't just pull them tight. Wiggle them. Make sure that there's still some type of movement, because if it gets too tight and then you do move it, it can pop your threads if you're not using like a really strong thread. And if you are using a really strong thread, there's also a chance, because these are glass beads, that they could break. The beads could actually pop.
That's happened to me.
Yeah, me too.
So we're going to pick up the border color. And go through under the bridge and back up through the bead. And then our edge color under the next bridge. Back up through the bead. Okay. So you should have something looking like that.
Looks good.
All right, so we're going to decrease again. So we pick up the edge color and a border color.
Seems like it's pretty fast for you. Like you could probably make.
Once you get going, once you understand the pattern and the increase decrease, you're going to get into a rhythm with it, and yeah, they go pretty fast. So it's just kind of like getting that initial one, kind of just understanding the pattern and how to build it. But once you understand how to build it, it's the motions are easy, pretty easy anyway. All right, again, so since we're decreasing, we're not going to go under the first bridge. We're going to skip the first one and go under the second one.
Pat says, great tip, probably with you moving it around, wiggling the beads to make them not pop. And Morphing Design says, if things go south on a project, it's usually when increasing and decreasing. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
That's 100% correct, especially in knitting or in crochet.
Yeah.
I mean, when isn't it really?
Yeah, that's usually, keeping the same steady thing in a row is fine. But yeah, once you start to make a change, it's like, oh, you didn't make it just right. All right, so we're going to go back up through the first bead. Be strong. And again, it's going to be a bit wonky, so go back down through the second bead or the first bead, and then we're going to go under that first bridge again. Or not again, but we're going to go under the first bridge and back up through the second bead here. And I usually put my needle down just for a minute and kind of wiggle these guys. And so I'm wiggling them and pulling at the same time just to kind of get them to lock in there. But also making sure that, see, this is still pretty flexible.
Keeping the flexibility.
Yeah. If you get it, like I said, if you get it too tight, then one little movement can just pop the whole thing apart sometimes. So.
Kaylee says, I love that beaded design. What bead stitch is she using? Brick stitch? Yes.
Yes. All right, so then we're going to do the accent color next. And this will be our last accent color. We're going under the bridge, the next bridge. And then back up through, same bead. Again, pulling it tight. We're going to pick up the border color under the next bridge. And back up through, same bead. Oh, something. Oh, I've added an extra bead.
Where did you add it? So show how to fix it.
Okay, so okay, since I'm talking and listening to Cynthia, guys, I'm sorry. So we should have not added that last blue bead. See, we should have just had the four. Should have just had the 4 blue in the middle. So I added the blue bead, and it should have been the golden mustard bead. So I just removed my needle because it's just going to be easier, and I'm just going to pull.
Is it a big nuisance?
No, I'm just pulling. I just have to pull 2 beads off. That's it. So sorry, guys.
No, that's good, because sometimes it's good to see what to do if you make a mistake, because that can happen, especially when you're doing a pattern. Wendy says, yippee, a mistake. Woohoo. And she also says the translucence of those glass beads are really beautiful. Yeah. I like that kind of bead. They're so perfectly stacked up. You would not like to use the ones that I was using, though, the antique ones, because they would be like one thick one, one not thick one.
No, I don't like that.
I was like, you're going to love these ones. And some that were misshapen.
Yeah, those go in the garbage.
You're so crazy.
No, I try to make use of them, but sometimes they're a bit too wonky. All right, so okay, so the border color. Remove the wrong ones, and then we go back up through. Okay, and then our edge color under the bridge, back up through the bead. Okay, and then there we are.
There you go. Back on track. It is a learning experience, Wendy. Morphing Design says, knitting and I split ways in my late teens, never returned to it. Not quite sure why. I've fallen in and out of love with knitting. First, because I was doing English, and that was not good for my hands.
And that was my spirit bead. You're right. That's cute. Okay, so we're going to pick up, again, the edge color and the border color, 2. And we're going to skip the first bridge and go under the second bridge, up through the second bead, and then back down through the first bead. So we make sure all this lines up good. And then under the first bridge, and then back up through the second bead. Okay, and again, I put my needle down. Especially when you're decreasing with this, I find it's really, really beneficial every time when you put on those first two beads to decrease, to put your needle down and really kind of get all those beads in that thread to get tight, since you've kind of circled around them a couple times. Because yeah, you don't want to end up going further down and then you find out that you didn't pull it all taut and you've got some loose thread there that's kind of sticking out and stuff.
These would make good hat bands, like that, like a neat motif.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a big one.
All right, and so we've got one more of our edge beads here to go on to this part. So under the bridge here, back up through. Okay, and then we've got our final decrease here. So we're going to put on 2 of our edge beads. And again, we're going to skip that first bridge, go under the second. If I can.
I can see a spot where you could probably potentially poke yourself in the nail.
Oh yeah, I've poked myself so many times. So we go back up through the second bead, back down through the first bead. Don't get your thread wrapped around you, have a knot. All right, and then we're going to go under that first bridge. I'm actually going to bring mine from the back to the front. I feel like I can see it better, but whatever works better. You know, if you want to push it from the front to the back, that's fine. And then we're going to go back up through that second bead. And again, put my needle down, pull everything, straighten everything up. And so that's where we are at this point. And now the next step is we are going to attach the other jump ring. So we're going to pick up that final bead for our edge color.
Wendy says, I think the reason I like doing embroidery with beads on fabric is that they were great directions. Probably referencing Azalea's good directions.
Oh, nice. Right, and then we're going to pick up the jump ring. And we're going to go back down through that bead we just strung.
You don't do this in a hurry. No.
And so that's what we have at the moment. So it's not pulled tight or anything really. But you're going to go get it to that point. And then I'm going to go down through either the right or left bead. Doesn't matter. Just kind of keep a note of which one you do go through, because again, I'm going to pass this through and go through it twice. So when I come back down after the jump ring, I'm going to go to the opposite side of the bead. So I'm not going to go through the same bead I'm coming down now. So I'm going to jump over to the bead that's right next to it and come up. I'm going to put my needle down just so I can kind of pull this tight. Now that thread is along here, and it's just going to kind of tuck itself down in there and hide. I'm going to turn my work over, and I'm going to go back up through that bead that's right below the jump ring. And go through the jump ring. Well, that's too many times.
Looks good. You're doing it.
Some good colors you picked. It's looking
Nice.
good.
All right, and then back down through that top bead. And again, this is just, you could go through it once if you want. This is just for reinforcement. And then I'm going to go, okay, I'll do this one thing at a time here. All right, bring it down through that bead. And then at this point, you just really need to kind of weave your thread in and tuck it. So I like to go down one side, kind of work my way through those edge beads. You can see I'm coming out that very, the point where it's the widest. And I'm going to go down the whole edge here. And sometimes this is nice because sometimes the beads don't always lock as well on the edges, just depending.
So you're just running right through the top or right through them?
Yeah, I'm just going to put it right down the edge, and then that kind of helps straighten up your beads on the side if you had any that were a little bit wonky sticking out.
So it's your corrector.
Yeah, and then I'm going to kind of go back down a couple more beads there.
So are you going like almost a border around the whole thing?
You could if you want to, but what I did, besides drop it in the bead tray, let me turn this around. Okay, so I came down out of the jump ring here and back through that top bead, and then through all these beads just on the edge here, and then down those beads to the edge. I cut across, not going through this very tip bead here, but just out of that second from the top, and then cut across to the next bead there on the edge. And I went up 2. And I'm not going to go up any further than that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump back over to the bead next to it. So I'm at the edge bead, and then this was what I was calling the border bead. So I'm going to string through that. That's just going to kind of give it a zigzag kind of effect so that your weaving doesn't come undone. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I keep coming off camera.
It's okay. I do it too.
And then I'm going to jump over one more bead.
Wendy says, very cute. I've never been a big fan of seed beaded earrings, but these are an adorable pattern that's not too wild.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think they're really cute.
And for me, I think that's enough. If you're doing something bigger,
Seems strong.
Yeah,
they seem. You guys, if you could feel these, they don't feel fragile.
No, and with that fire line, or if you use a good beading thread, they're going to be very strong. And glass and carbon-based fiber.
Yeah, and it's not like it's load bearing.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to cut.
But they do feel strong. They don't feel like, I don't know how to describe it. So I've made some beaded things that were kind of loose. So that's nice. I'm a big fan of these kind of iridescent ones with that matte color in the middle. That looks really pretty. It's a good look.
So there is our finished little guy.
It's like a quilt square kind of. Doesn't it remind you of
like granny squares? You could. I mean, that would be so cute if somebody wanted to do like a granny square,
but miniature.
Miniature granny square jewelry.
So you didn't tie it. You went through back and forth so many times.
I just wove it. Yeah.
It's woven in there tight. It's not going anywhere.
And because it is a bead, it is a woven piece. If that was all just strung on there, I would have definitely knotted it, reinforced it. But and if you want to save thread, you could always kind of knot it or something like that.
Now, does this kind of thread burn like how you can do with nylon, where you can burn it into a little ball and then smash it?
You can't burn the carbon thread. But if you want to do something like that, use the nylon or something, which you can do.
I like it when you turn it. See, the 2 beads, the outer bead and the middle bead are matte finish, and then the inner border is a shiny bead. So when you turn it, it's almost like
Yeah,
And
and
very reflective.
another fun thing would be to do, you know, on the outside a more just simple bead, and then maybe the matte bead as that border color, and then the center being like a cut, like a, you know, a two cut bead, so that it gives like a sparkle.
Or yeah, those faceted ones.
Yeah, that's
And
what
that's an easy earring right there.
I have some of those like hexagon delicas in that.
Yeah, I
green.
have a bunch too. We just didn't pick those out.
That's
as some
this,
of the
right?
colors. Yeah.
They're kind of, see how they're faceted?
Oh, those are. I love the blue and purple next to your hand.
The blue
Sparkling.
and purple. Oh, this
Yeah.
purple?
Yeah, that one, and then there's
That's
the
a
other
really
purple.
pretty purple. Like a grape. And then look at
Yeah,
this.
and I
Let's
think
do
it
these
is
together.
I really like to just usually use one cut as opposed to using all cuts.
Oh, so you have contrast.
Yeah, so if you do like some matte, and then maybe you do something that's just silver line, so you got a little bit of sheen, you got something that doesn't reflect the light so much, and then you have something that just captures, that just really plays with the light. So, you know, it just kind of depends on what your overall look you want. You could do all matte if you want it to be more subtle or something, or if you want to be real sparkly, you can make them all sparkly too, you know. But
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Kaylee said, Wendy says definitely, and easy to add things at each end or only one end. Yeah, that's true. And Kaylee says, I have to try this. What weight fire line was used?
Oh, 6 pound, size D.
Nice. Allie says, really pretty. I would agree with that statement. Clem says, the metallic beads create a framed effect. Yeah, that does.
That's why I use those. Yeah, those are silver line.
That looks good. And when you say silver line, they're fumed on the inside of that bead, so that there
is metal on the inside, and
that's the edge of this. Is that what that kind of bead?
Yeah, it's a silver line. And with the silver line, though, something to watch out for with silver line, guys, if you don't have experience with the silver line seed beads, is that if you are doing needle work with them, sometimes if you're not delicate when you pass the needle through them, you can actually scrape the silver lining out. And that goes for also
that silver line.
No, that's an opaque, but it's got like a luster finish. But then there's also color lined seed beads that are also kind of delicate on the inside. So again, if you're passing the needle through a color lined seed bead, be careful, you can scrape the color out from the inside.
This is a pretty one. I like this one. Oh, I see.
Or that's gilt lined, actually. That's gilt lined. This is a silver line. So this is crystal silver line. So
yeah, you can. Morphing Design says, nice designs can go wild with colors. You know, that's true. If you're interested in playing with colors, this is a good small project that you can easily make earrings or components. I was saying,
yeah,
that you could just make a bunch in different colorways, just like you would with a crocheted motif, and have them on standby. You know, it's just fun to make color mixes. Like this together is pretty. You know, that kind of peachy silver with this peacock blue, maybe a little bit of, I don't know, maybe pink with it. What do you think about that story? That's kind of crazy. It's getting wild.
All kinds of options, guys.
So many options. So many options.
The limit.
Kayla says, this is a saver.
Oh, you're
for
very
replay.
welcome, Wendy.
Thank you. Wendy says, thanks so much, Jamie, for showing us. Yes, thank you so much. And also, it is nice to have a break. Azalea and I were like, oh, like it's so good to come up with something that's a little bit different than our usual, you know, things that we do. So thank you so much.
If you guys have anything else.
Yeah, Jamie is.
I do all kinds of stuff.
She does do all kinds of stuff. One of the things I want her to come over and show is some basic soldering. I get a lot of questions about that, and I think I have a Smith torch that needs to be set up. We would have to do that one on when it's a little bit nicer outside. Here, let's flip the camera. We're gonna flip this, and let's see. We will give Marty something good here. He will be happy. Get all the cameras out of the way. That cat is resting. Where's his treat? You guys want to see something that me and Azoya? Oh, I wanted to show. Jamie just brought me these dice. Thank you, Jamie. This was. Aren't they crazy? They're I wish I hadn't flipped it, but isn't that neat? They're called. What are these called? Tell me again.
Astrological dice
Astrological dice.
Yeah.
So there's one that has numbers on it
for the houses.
for the houses, and then the other ones have planetary symbols. That one looks like a hook and eye, doesn't it?
That is the south node.
The hook and eye is the south node.
And then the other one has the 12 astrological signs.
So smart. I'm gonna have to look up. I'm gonna have to look up a guidebook on those and see how to throw them.
Fun stuff.
Those sound fun. I love dice.
Yes, me too.
I love throwing Farkle. I was like, maybe I can get this gal to throw some dice with me. It'll be fun. All right.
Oh, he's like, excuse me.
He's like, what's up? Oh, Clem says D&D. No, not a D&D. Not a D&D. Yeah, I'm kind of like, should we have?
Mama,
He's like,
give it.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you making me wait?
It's like, I can smell it over here.
Clem says, I love Farkle. I wonder if Clem loves Farkle more than I do. Listen, Clem, could you imagine? We were at this gallery when I was doing this, this opening, and that would have been fun. Wouldn't that have been fun to have dice? We could have had a dice game going.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Pass those dice around, throwing them and having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll do that. We're gonna eat dinner and then or eat and throw. Well,
Yeah.
Too many things. All right, my friends, thank you so much. A couple of notes before I sign off. Don't forget, on March 26th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a live with Softflex. That's going to be fun.
Ooh.
We're going to be seeing Kristen and Sarah. We're going to get up to some shenanigans. And then the next day, we will be going to our retreat on the 27th. This is next week. I'm hoping I'm done with jury duty. Pardon me.
Jury duty.
I know. I got the summons and I was like, dang it. I think I have to do this right before the retreat. So hopefully I can enjoy life. And that is on the 27th, 3:45. We will be doing a D-stash. We have some stuff we've been saving up, so it'll be good times to do that. So that's next week. And we'll see if I can wrangle a guest for our live just to see what happens. All right, my friends, thanks so much. And we will see you. What's today? What is today? Wednesday.
Yes.
I'm going to see you on Sunday. Man.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. All right. Good night.